So today, anything you're not comfortable, of course, don't do. Listen to your body. And you may want to have a block or two. We're going to be sitting on them, so some of you might not even need a block. I'll need at least two. And we'll start by lying down on the ground. So if you can get comfortable on the floor, on our backs. Get a little bit of length in the spine, tuck the shoulders down. And if it's comfortable, turning the palms upwards. So this just helps to rotate the head of the shoulders a little bit more to the floor. And then check the position of the chin. So we don't want it jutting up to the ceiling. And we don't need it tucked in too tight towards the throat. And then we want to be settled on the center of the back of the head. So just check if there's a little bit of a tilt or a lean. If you want, take the head for a gentle little rock and then find that center point. Now you can either keep the knees bent if your back prefers that, or you could bring the soles of the feet together, knees out wide, and start to open into the inner thighs. Anytime this becomes uncomfortable, you can either straighten the legs or bend the knees, feet on the floor. So begin to breathe into the belly. Expanding on the in-breath, and on the exhale, allowing the belly to gently release to the ground. And if it's comfortable, allowing that exhalation to extend a little longer. So we take a beautiful big breath in. And using the Ujjayi breath on the exhale, gentle contraction in the throat to help lengthen that exhalation. And it's very subtle, the sound of the breath on the exhale. Last Ujjayi breath, releasing that out. And then we'll slide the feet away, lengthening out along the mat. So let's take the right arm up. We're going to inhale, stretch the right arm up overhead, point away through the right toes. So there'll be contraction through the left side of the body. Couple of breaths here. And then we'll bring that right arm back down. And let's inhale up the left side, point away through the left toes, a little contraction through the right side of the body. Big stretch out. And release, bring that arm back down. So we'll re-bend the knees and we're going to do some cycling in the air. If you want to have a little bit more support to your back or your abdomen, you can place the hands underneath the buttocks or just have both arms down beside the body. So we'll take both feet off the floor. And then it's a slow cycle, just riding a bike in the air. And we try to point and flex the feet as we do this. And if you want to work a little bit stronger through the abdomen, take the legs closer to the floor. So we want to go all the way up to the sky and then maybe closer to the ground. You should feel this working in the abdomen. And then we'll bring both feet back to floor, have a little rest. Notice how the back feels. And if it's asking for a little bit more support when we do this a second time, again, you can put the hands underneath for a little bit more support. All right, so let's take both feet off the floor again. And this time, can we go backwards? So taking the feet along the ground and then up towards the ceiling. And of course, the lower we go with the legs, the stronger the work will be. So it's riding a bike alternately, keeping the lower back pushing to the floor. All right, come back down, feet to the ground, knees bent. And we'll just do that relaxed little roll of the knees side to side, loosening up into the lower back. All right, let's take both knees in towards the chest, hands on each knee, little rock, little roll, whatever feels good. And then we'll come up to sit. So coming into Dandasana, our stiff rod pose. If you want a little bit more support underneath the buttocks, you can place a blanket down there, but we won't be here too long. So flexing into the feet, we're just going to draw the toes back, draw the whole foot back, kneecaps are drawing up, and then keeping the feet pulled back, can we just tuck the toes down? And then from there, keeping the toes tucked, extend away through the feet. And then we take just the toes back. So keep the feet extended down, but the toes are pulled back. And then we take the whole foot back. So I'll shuffle back a bit so you can see my feet a little bit better. So it's toes down, whole foot down, toes back, whole foot back. And we just continue with that action. If you get cramping, then maybe don't point the toes down because that encourages the cramping a little bit more. All right, and then we'll just circle around from the ankles and the other way. All right, now we're going to come to sit in a kneeling position, Vajrasana, and I'm still finding this one challenging after my knee operation, hence I have some bricks that I'm going to try and sit on, but I may not even be able to do it then. So if you can have your feet flat. Now, I know for some people that can be quite excruciating when they sit back on their heels with the feet flat. So an option, if you've got a towel, you could roll a towel up, but you can also just roll up one end of your mat. Nice tight little roll. There we go. And you can put that underneath the arches of your feet. So we're sitting back in Vajrasana. This is where I get creative with my bricks. There we go. So we're looking to open up the tops of the feet. If it's absolutely excruciating, feel free to come out at any time, or perhaps prop up a little bit with something underneath the buttocks if you find that's going to work better for you. But it's a nice stretch for the shins, for the tops of the feet, and if you can stay with this, then let's inhale up the arms, nice big stretch out. Turn the palms out on the exhale, bring the arms back down. And then leaning back just a little bit, seeing if you can take maybe the right knee off the floor just a little bit. I don't get a lot of movement here. Maybe the left knee now off the floor. One end comes up slightly. And then back down. All right. So we're going to lean forwards and just roll the feet out. Now, some people, if you really didn't like that one, you might like the next one. So what we're going to do is the other way, stretching the soles of the feet. So if you can tuck the toes under and then see if you can come back and sit down. And this one, I can't even quite make my bricks. But even sitting in this more upright position, I can still feel an awesome stretch through the soles of the feet. And some people really love sitting down like this with the toes tucked. So we're just opening up the soles of the feet, the backs of the toes there. And hopefully enjoying that without gritting the teeth or into the face. It's just a nice little exercise. I don't know about everybody else who's in lockdown, but certainly in winter, I've been spending a lot of time in Ugg boots, which are really not good for your feet long term. So it's good to stretch them out and do different things with them. All right, let's come back up. We'll come back to hands and knees. And if you did end up curling your mat, then uncurling that. And we're on our hands and knees. In cat, if you need a little bit of padding underneath, then set that up underneath the knees. All right, so from here, once more, just rolling the heels in and out, loosening off into the feet there. You may even want to give them a bit of a tap out. And then coming into a little calf stretch, so we'll tuck the right toes under, reach back through the heel. Let's change it over. Left toes tucked under. Reach back through the heel. And then release. All right, we'll move it into our Savannasana, our downward facing dog. So we'll walk it out. We'll take the hands a little further in front, both toes tucking under, and then easing up and back and just going for a little walk on the spot. So relax the head. Ears should be between the upper arms. And then we'll ease back through both heels. Release the shoulders away from the ears. Just a couple of breaths into the belly. And then we'll bring both knees back to the floor, coming into a child pose. So releasing buttocks to heels and either head to floor or onto hands. And then coming back onto our hands again. All right, so back to our downward dog. We're just going to change the position of the hands a little bit. So if you can take the little fingers to the edges of your mat with a very slight rotation out. So this just sort of helps to draw the shoulders away from the ears. So I've got little fingers and maybe the ring finger just on the edge of the mat there. So it might be a little bit wider than you're used to. Let's tuck our toes, breathe in, take the hips high, and as we exhale, easing back. And think about sliding your shoulders back towards the buttocks. So shoulder blades and shoulders are moving towards the buttocks. Press down through the palms, through the knuckles, through all the fingers. So you've got a really broad base through the hands as we hold and breathe. And observe how the neck feels, how the shoulders feel. And keep reaching back through the heels, drawing up the kneecaps and the thighs. And then we'll take both knees back to floor. And once more, resting. Give the arms a nice rest. If you want, rotate into the wrists. And then coming back up. All right, so whether you felt a little bit weird with the hands slightly wider and turned out, or if you found that was more enjoyable for your downward dog, now feel free to have a little play with the hand in the arm position. So we'll do one more, and from there we'll walk it into a forward bend and make our way up for some standing postures. So let's reset the hands, and your choice, you can keep them to your shoulder width or a little bit wider. We'll tuck the toes, nice deep breath in, take the hips high. Exhale, ease it back. And then come right up onto the toes, onto the balls of the feet. Take the heels as high as you can. Lots of length in the legs there. Let's see if we can move the chest a little bit more towards the feet. And then reach slowly, heels a little closer to the floor. Keep moving the chest towards the legs. Should be getting a really good sensation of stretch through the back legs there. And then we'll walk hands and feet towards each other now. Coming into our forward bend. So feet hip width apart, get the heels down on the ground. Fingertips just touching the floor if you can. So it's all right to have the knees soft. And then taking the gaze a little further forwards. Bend the knees a little deeper. Let's come up halfway. So we're going to bring the hands up onto the thighs. Draw the shoulders back. Take the elbows out. Until we start to get that sense of the blood moving down from the head slowly to the heart. So hopefully not having that congested feeling in the head anymore. Let's bend the knees a little deeper. Inhale, coming up through the crown of the head to stand. And then shake it out, loosen off. Then if you need to readjust your cameras, now that we're in our standing position, then feel free to do that. And we'll start with the feet, roughly hip width in our Tadasana position. So we want to keep the knees a little bit soft. Groin is a little bit soft, so check that you're not sort of pushing the hips forwards. And then we'll bring the shoulders up and roll them backwards and let them sit down. So we'll do a movement with breath with the arms. We'll inhale, we'll take both arms up towards the sky. And as we exhale, draw it down towards the heart. So as if you're holding a little ball. Then from the heart, let's breathe it out, expand it out to the sides. And then as we exhale, bringing it back in and turning the palms down towards the hips. Release the palms up as we breathe in, take it up towards the shoulders. And then exhale all the way down towards the floor. So again, breathing in, take the arms out wide and up towards the sky. As if we're holding a ball, exhale towards the heart. Inhale out, expanding into the chest. Exhale, palms are now turned down towards the hips. Breathe up from the hips towards the shoulders. And then exhale all the way towards the earth. We'll do this one more time. Inhale, all the way up, gathering up lots of good energy around us. Exhale, let's take it into our heart center. From the heart, let's expand it out to those around us. And as we exhale, we bring that energy back in and we take it a little deeper down to our root chakra. On the breath in, let's bring it all the way up through the body. And then the exhale, connecting with the earth again. And relax. It's just a nice centering breath. All right, from here we'll be stepping the feet out wide for Trikonasana. We'll start with triangle pose today. So we'll turn the right foot out 90 degrees and have our back foot slightly turned in. We'll bend a little bit into the right knee. We just want to make sure the kneecap's pointing in line with the middle toes there. And then we'll draw up through that front thigh and keep that knee in line with the toes as we straighten out. So if we place the hands below the waist here, just on the hip creases, and start to lengthen the body over that right leg. So we're using leg strength, core strength to keep us here. And if you like, you can start to slide the right hand down the shin, and then we'll reach and extend up through the left arm. Shoulders are relaxed back. You have the option of looking straight ahead or turning and looking to the top hand. But we want the forehead that little bit higher than the chin. Keep drawing up through these leg muscles. Breathing into the belly, into the open chest. And then we'll press through the feet on the inhale. Let's reach through the top arm and come all the way back out. And let's rotate the feet over to the left side. So we've got back foot slightly turned in, front knee a little bit bent, and when we bend the knee, just checking that it's in line with the middle toes. Let's start to draw it back now. Hands just here near the hips, so not up on the waist, a little bit lower. Begin to lean towards the left side there. As we come over, we should start to feel this stretch in the inner thigh. We'll allow the left hand to trace down and breathe up through the right arm. And then your choice with the head, straight ahead or looking up, whatever's comfortable. You could even look down if you prefer. And we should now have both legs straight. And not too much weight in the bottom hand if you can help it. So we're trying to use our strength of legs and core. So press through the feet, breathe up through the top arm, we'll come all the way back out. And release the arms. And we'll step the feet back in. So that's our Trikonasana, our triangle pose. From here, just a nice easy swing. Getting a little bit of rotation, then we'll come back to center. And I've just been enjoying this movement recently, so you might have done this already in some of the other classes. We're going to have the feet closer together now, bend the knees, sit back with the hips into our chair position, and taking the arms out in front, palms together. Shoulders are relaxed, so it's just chest height, no higher. And we're adding a rotation here. So we're going to breathe in, take the right arm back behind, take the gaze with the right arm, keep the knees together. Exhale, we bring the hands back. We'll go to the left side, breathing in, left arm back, and releasing on the exhale. So let's keep going. We've got two more each side. Keeping the knees bent if we can. Sitting back with the hips. And when we go to the left side, this should be our last one. And then we'll release, we'll come back up and give the shoulders a little shrug. So let's turn around for warrior number one. We'll have the right foot forwards. Left foot back, we've got hip width distance this time with the feet, and then front right knee is a little bit soft. So we're looking to get a calf stretch through our left leg. And as we inhale, We'll reach the arms up. If your arms don't like this, feel free to, choose a different variation. There's lots of things you can do with the arms. Gaze either up between the fingertips or just looking straight ahead. And from this position, we try to relax the right hip back. And as we take the right hip back, the left hip can move a little further forward so we get a deeper opening in that hip flexor and left thigh. All right, bring the arms down and step back out. We'll change sides. So right foot back. Checking we can have both feet facing the top of the mat so we're feeling that little calf stretch in the right side. We'll bend the front knee. And then on the breath in, let's take the arms up or out wide or at the heart. Choose the gaze point, keep the gaze steady. While we hold this position, we try to ease the left side back a little bit more so we're opening up that right thigh and hip. And then we'll bring the arms back down and step back out. So from here, you may need a brick. We'll be working into revolved triangle pose, a little bit more challenging this one. So we'll be placing the brick roughly in the middle to start off with. We will step the right foot forwards as if we're doing our warrior one position. So again, we want to have both feet pointing to the top of the mat. And we'll start with the hands just here on the hips. So in warrior one, we have the right knee bent. From here, we will be straightening it as we extend forward. So let's take the left arm out in front. Nice deep breath in, and on the exhale, start to reach down and out with the left hand, and we'll place it on the brick. Brick is just underneath the chest. So let's see if we can now straighten into the right leg. You could have the hand on the floor if that's available to you as well. So with the straightening of the right leg, you should be noticing an opening in the hamstrings there. Draw the right hip back, left hip forwards. All right, so bending the right knee, just so it's over the ankle. Inhale, lift the head, lift the chest. And now start to turn to the right. We're getting a little rotation in the body. Breath in, breath out here. Take another breath in. And then on the exhale, can we keep the twist to the right, but straighten into that right leg again. So both legs straight now as we keep turning the body to the right. All right, from here, bend the front knee, face the floor. Inhale, come back up. So just warming up. We'll change sides. So left foot forwards. We'll start with the left knee a little bit soft as if we're doing warrior one. And now we'll extend the right arm forwards. So I'm going to breathe in. Exhale, come down. Hand on the brick or on the floor, whatever's comfortable. And then on the exhale, straightening into the left leg. So looking for this opening in the left hamstring. All right, rebend the left knee. Breathe in, lift the head and chest a little bit as on the exhale, we turn now to our left. So head looking to the left. Take a breath in. And on the exhale, now re-straighten into the left knee. So working into our revolved triangle. We'll rebend that left knee, turn face the floor. And inhale, come all the way back out. Stepping out. All right, so let's see if we can take this a little bit further. Back to the right side forwards. You can leave the brick, or you could take it to the side. We're going to go a little deeper this time. So from here, we'll start with a straight leg. We're going to draw up both knees, both thighs. We'll keep the right hand on the hip, and then inhale out with the left arm. As we exhale, reaching forwards and then down, either onto the support or the floor or your foot. So we're still trying to keep this right leg straight now. Inhale, lift the head, lift the chest. Exhale, start to turn the head, turn the body. And then if you want, you can take that top arm up, but if it doesn't feel good, just keep it down here. My shoulder doesn't like this side. So it's more about getting that rotation through the ribs, strong legs. And we'll face the floor. Now, if you want to be a bit kinder on the back, you can bend the front knee as you push and come back out. It should feel like a little bit of hard work. All right, so let's change sides. Left foot forwards. Keeping that hip width distance, it's going to make it easier for us to rotate. So this time we're having straight legs to start off with. We'll take the right arm out in front. Let's breathe it out. Exhale, extend. Bring it down. And then you can choose whether you want the hand on the floor, the foot, or staying with the brick. Okay, keep drawing up through the legs. Breathe in, lift the head, lift the chest. And as we exhale, turn to the left. And if it feels okay, reach the top arm up. But again, you don't have to. Make sure you're breathing. Then we'll bring that top arm back down, face the floor, and you can soften the left knee and stepping up and out. I'll give the legs a little shake out. So really good for, working on that abdominal area. That's that type of pose, and good for leg strength. We'll be going into eagle pose next. This is great for opening up the back and the shoulders. So if we can start with the feet closer together, and we keep the knees a little bit soft. We'll do the arms first, and then we'll add the leg position. So we're going to breathe the arms up. The right arm will come underneath the left arm. So option is going for a big hug like this, or if it works for you, it doesn't work for me sometimes, intertwining and bringing the hands together. I really struggle with this one. So it's like, can't quite get it. So I quite like this one. It opens up the shoulders. Whatever works for you. We're going to bend the knees. And then from here, the right leg will come over the top of the left. So we're going to lift the right leg up nice and high. Squeeze the thighs. Now you can put the toes on the floor, or you can keep the foot hanging, or some of you might be able to hook the foot behind the calf, which is a lot more balancing. So whatever works for you, we're going to sit down a little bit deeper, and I'm trying to keep my elbows and my knees in the center line of my body. And what we want is that beautiful opening across the back of the shoulders and across the back of the lumbar sacral area, lower back area. So we breathe, we keep the gaze steady. And then next inhale, we'll come back up, unravel everything, and we'll set for the other side. So let's take both arms up, deep breath in. On the exhale, left arm underneath the right arm, so you can either do the hug Oh, this twine is not working for me today. We're going to bend the knees, sit down, and left leg is over the right leg this time. So nice big squeeze. You can slide the toes to the floor, hook the foot behind the calf. When we sit down, just that little bit deeper to encourage that opening in the back of the body. Breathing into the back. Next breath in, we'll come back up, unravel, and shake it out. So we'll go wide with the feet. We'll be moving into a forward bend. So if you do like to have a support for the hands, you could set yourself up with 1 or 2 bricks. If you're happy to reach the floor, that's awesome, go for the floor. So we want to align the outer edges of the feet with the outer edges of the mat. And of course, it's a wide stance. So the wider the legs, the easier it will be to achieve touching the ground. We want to fold from our hip creases. So let's start to drop through the back of the legs, ease forwards, placing the hands down onto the shins there, and then either placing the hands on the bricks or on the floor, whatever is comfortable for you. I don't mind if the hands are flat, knuckles, fingertips. It's totally personal preference. But I do want you to try and keep your spine nice and long. So think of extending back through your tailbone and out through the crown of the head. We'll bend the right knee, sit down a little bit onto that left side. So we're getting a little bit more stretch in the inner left thigh. And then we'll come back, bend the left knee, sink down into the right side. And then coming back to center. And if it's comfortable to go a little bit deeper, then allowing the head to now relax as we look down between the legs. So if you prefer to keep the head a bit higher, feel free to do a semi-squat in this position instead and keep the head more neutral with the heart. But otherwise, if it's comfortable, just allowing ourselves to hang and breathe. Allow some length to happen in the neck and the spine as we can bring the hands back a little bit more between the feet. And then walking the hands back underneath the shoulders. So from this position, we will transition to downward dog and then to the floor. So if you would like to walk the hands around to one side and perhaps step back with one leg to rotate yourself on the mat into our Svanasana. And then we'll take both knees down to the ground and rest. So either head supported on the hands or on the floor. And then coming back up to hands and knees. All right, this is going to work a little bit more on the shoulders. So we'll be doing what we call dolphin dog, which means the forearms will be on the ground. If we can take the palms together and the elbows are about shoulder width wide, no wider, because your head shouldn't connect with the floor in this posture. It should be free to just hang. So from here, forearms stay on the ground. We tuck the toes, just like downward dog. We're going to lift up. And then as we exhale, we move back with the hips, and the head should be hanging between the upper arms. So I'm trying to get my shoulders moving towards my hips. So they're not over the elbows, they're behind the elbows. And then we'll bring both knees back to floor. And again, give the arms a little rest. Now, depending on how you felt with dolphin dog, you can either stay in dolphin dog, or if you prefer to come back to your full downward dog with the straight arms, you can do that as well. We'll be taking it into a three-legged dog, so just taking one leg up into the air. So either palms flat on the floor, ready for your downward dog, or if you're happy to do your dolphin dog, forearms on the floor, then we will come up and lift the hips, moving the chest back. And we want to keep the hips level. We'll raise the right leg straight back. So your toes on the right foot should be pointing down towards the floor. We're looking for a straight line either from hands or elbows back to hips and out through that top foot. And then we'll bring that right leg down. If you want to have a little rest here, you can have a little rest, or you can hold it in this position. And then when you're ready, we'll move to the left leg straight back, hips level. This is upper body strength work. Keep breathing. And then we'll bring that left leg back down. We'll come all the way down. And once more, have a rest. If you want to take the knees out a little wider, you can. Big toes touch. And then coming back up, let's give the shoulders a little bit of a shrug out. And the other way. All right. So from here, we'll move into what we call fish pose, which is lying down on our backs. It's a nice opening for the chest. You do have to be a bit careful about your neck though. So I'll give you two options for this one. We press down through our elbows and we lift the back off the floor. The bottom, however, stays on the ground. Eventually the legs are either straight or you could have them in a bound angle pose, but usually to start off with, I start just with the knees a little bit bent to get into it, and then I bring the legs into the position. So what we do is we press down through the elbows, and then we lift the head and the chest off the floor, and we take the head back. So a gentler version is still resting on the back of the head, and you can see I'm opening up the throat, and then I can adjust the legs to however I want to have them. A stronger version is to lift higher and take the head much further back. But that's a lot tougher on the neck, so be careful with that one. So choosing your position, press down through the elbows, lift the chest, and then choose whether you want to have the legs straight or knees out, feet together. If you're happy to have weight on your head with the lift, then you could bring the hands also to the heart center. Shoulders away from the ears. Now when we come back down, we need to press through the elbows. You lift the head first, and then you roll the back onto the floor again. And we just allow the body to rest for a moment. And feel like the neck is asking for it, you could do a gentle little head roll side to side. And then coming back to center. Okay, let's slide both feet towards the buttocks, so knees are bent. And we're going to cross the right leg over the left. Just sort of a loose cross-legged position. And we'll be moving up into a bridge pose from here. So pressing down through the left foot and just raising the hips, buttocks off the floor. And we're encouraging that right knee to release towards the ground. A bit of back strength. And then we'll come back down. Take the right foot away, back to the floor. Cross the left leg over the right leg. And then when you're ready, pressing down through the right foot, lifting the buttock off the ground. And release all the way back down. Okay, both feet about hip width. And we'll come up into our standard bridge pose, so pressing down through the feet, lifting the hips up. Perhaps tucking the shoulders under a little bit more. And either interlocking the hands behind the back or grabbing the edge of the mat. Encouraging that opening in the front body. And then releasing the hands, releasing the back to the floor. And just a nice little squeeze. Keep the tailbone down, head down, so it's just a flat back. And then feet back to ground. So let's move into an supine twist. Taking the arms out shoulder height, keeping the shoulders relaxed to the floor as much as we can. And we'll go through the three sections of the twist, working on different parts of the spine. So first one's low level. We're going to keep the feet on the floor, bring the knees and feet together, and press through the feet. Little swivel of the hips on the spot. So I've just slightly shifted. Roll both legs over to the right, keeping the knees together. Your left foot should be on top of your right foot. And you can either look to the ceiling or look down the left arm. And breathe into the belly. Okay, let's inhale, center. Realign the back. So press through the feet, little swivel of the hips. Resting a bit more on that left buttock. Let's roll the knees to the left. Right foot stacked on top of left. And then we'll come back to center. And this time we'll take the feet off the floor. Knees just over the hips here. And we've got like a 90-degree angle behind the back of the legs. So we're going to rotate a little bit on the pelvis there. Let's take both legs over to the right. And it might be a little bit harder now to keep that left shoulder on the floor, but if you need to, you can always readjust the position of the legs. Okay, let's come back up. Change the swivel of the hips and then rolling both legs over to the left. You should be feeling this a little higher up the spine in the twist. Okay, let's come back to our center. Now for the last one, you have the option of doing this with the legs straight, but that's quite intense. It needs a lot of good abdominal work. The other option is doing it with the knees bent, how we just did it, the twist, but then straightening the leg once you're in there. So if there's no problems with your back, you've got good core strength, feel free to take the legs up together. We're going to rotate or do that little pelvic swivel, and then we'll take both legs over to the right. Now, if you did it with bent knees, then you're just straightening that top left leg is the other option. But you should feel this working a lot more higher up the back. Deep belly breathing. Now, when we come out, it's a lot stronger with straight legs. So if you prefer to bend the knees to protect your back to come out, that's a good option. So we're going to come all the way back up, swivel the hips, and either have the knees bent coming into it or legs straight. Let's take them over to our left. Breathe into the belly. And then we'll make our way back out, either with bent knees or straight legs. Let's come back to the center, realign the spine. And if you feel that you need it, you can give yourself a little massage, little circles, roll around. But it is comfortable for your back. So I thought today we would do alternate nostril breathing before we go into our relaxation, and you need to ideally sit upright for this one. So if you want to get yourself set for relaxation at the same time, if you've got a jumper, you may want to put that on because we will cool down. And anything else that you like to have nearby for your relaxation. So alternate nostril breathing, also called Nadi Shodhana, is an awesome, relaxing, calming breath. Great for bringing balance into the body. And we're going to use it in our relaxation today as well. So sometimes it's easier to physically do it, and then when we do the relaxation, we will mentally do it. If you're not familiar with this, I'll start from the beginning, but those who are familiar with their alternate nostril breathing practice, feel free to go straight into it. So we use the right hand to direct the flow of breath. If you run your fingers down the bridge of the nose, you'll find a point where the cartilage runs out and it indents in. So that is where we block off, and it's very gentle. So I use my right thumb to block the right nostril, index middle finger placed at the eyebrow center, and then the ring and little finger block off the left nostril. So it's just a little movement that we do. I like to tuck my index middle finger into my palm like this. That's another option as well, but it's quite nice to stimulate the third eye center or Ajna chakra. So we don't want to force, we want to keep the breath relaxed. Anytime it's not comfortable, stop the practice, take what we call a rescue breath. Just breathe normally in and out. And then if you're ready to go back into it, then begin again. We always start through our left side and finish through the left side. So let's take a breath in through both nostrils. Exhale through both nostrils. And then we block off the right nostril. We're going to breathe in through our left. We close the left nostril, release the thumb, and exhale through right. We then breathe in through the right. Close with the thumb, release the left side and exhale. And we've completed one round. So we keep going, in through left. Out through right. And in through right. And out through left. It's nice to have the eyes closed when you do this practice. We bring the focus internal. And you might observe one nostril is a little bit more blocked than the other. And that is quite normal. And as you settle into this practice, if it's comfortable, perhaps introduce a ratio for your breath. So depending on how long you breathe in for, perhaps introduce a pause on the holds between the breath. So for instance, if you breathe in for a count of 4, breathe in for 4 and then hold the breath in for 2. And then exhale out for 4. And at the end of the exhale, we suspend the breath for 2. So if you've got a different count, like 6, it'll be 6, 3, 6, 3, or 5, 2, 5, 2. And as we just do a couple more rounds, be mindful of the spine staying nice and long. And letting go of the counting. Finishing up with your last exhale through the left nostril. And then breathing through both nostrils. Just observing how the body, the mind feels after that practice. So it's designed for balance. Balance in the brain functions, in the breath moving through the nostrils. And it's just a really nice way to settle before going into a relaxation. So if you'd like to make yourself comfortable, either lying down on the floor in a chair and checking that you'll be warm enough. Settling to the floor. So with that alternate nostril breathing, we just did it manually. But sometimes it can feel better to just do it mentally, so without using the hand to control the breath. So first of all, feel the body. Be conscious of how it's lying on the ground. Making any adjustments if you need to. And then enjoying that sense of stillness. Conscious of the sounds that might be in your room. Any sounds that might be outside the room. And then tuning into the sound of your breath. So hearing the breath moving in and out through the nostrils. With no sense of controlling the breath, just let it naturally flow in and out. Not only hearing the breath, but feeling that breath in the nostrils. Feeling it move through both nostrils. And imagine that breath meeting at the top of the nose to form a triangle. So the breath comes in through both nostril openings and it moves upwards and draws together to form a triangle at the eyebrow center. So both breaths are happening simultaneously, but they're separate breaths, the right and left nostril. Imagine them starting from a distance, drawing nearer, and both breaths unite at the eyebrow center. Then start to compare the right side to the left side. See if there's any difference in the temperatures between the right nostril and the left nostril. So we think of the left nostril breath as a cooler breath and the right nostril breath as a warmer breath. So now see if you can imagine breathing through alternate nostrils. Think of breathing in through one nostril and then out through the other. As if you're going up and down the sides of the triangle. And start to count your breaths. So we're going to count backwards from 54 down to 0. So when you next breathe in, think inhale left, 54. And then exhale right, 54. And then inhale right, 53. And exhale left, 53. Keep counting down each breath alternately. You may lose the count or lose the focus. That's okay. Start again at 54, counting down. And if you get to 0, start again at 54. Counting each breath down alternately. And then letting go of the counting of alternate breaths. We're breathing evenly through both nostrils. And feeling that movement of the breath through the body. So that gentle rise and fall in the chest, in the abdomen. Being aware of the sensation of the breath. Feeling that movement through the nostrils. Feeling that sensation of expansion in the ribs and the chest. Feeling the softness in the belly as it rises and falls. Being aware of what are you thinking. Just be aware of the spontaneous thought process. Be a witness to whatever comes through the mind. Just observing, not getting involved in the thoughts, just Noticing what pops in. Being aware of the witness part of the mind that observes it thinking. And then letting go of your thoughts and expanding your awareness back to the sounds around you. You have the sound of your breath, conscious of the sounds in the room, aware of the sounds outside your room. And then aware of the whole body. Conscious of the body lying on the floor. Conscious of the air on your face and starting to add a little bit of movement into the hands, into the feet. Stretching the arms, the legs. Taking a deeper breath in as you wake the body up, wake the mind up. When you're ready, rolling over to one side and coming to sit comfortably. So this week's quote again from Sadhguru, who says, if you resist change, you resist life. And we certainly have a lot of change that we're all going through at the moment. So we just have to go with the flow at times. It's no good trying to fight something that's beyond our control. So we'll bring the hands together. Namaste. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week. And yeah, we'll be here again next week.